Salute, real ones. Project Truth always. Mike G back here with Logical Raptors Fanatic in the flesh. Respect to the real ones always. Showing out, doing their thing, loving the team. Tough time at trade deadline, and we'll talk about some of the stuff that happened previously in January because we kind of got the total sum of the month, and it was sub 500 by a game or two, but like we'll look through each game a bit, and if the chat has any topics or questions or anything, they can shout it out. You know how it is. Like I'll get to different things, but interesting enough, we'll start off. We'll talk on the February preview, kind of like preview what's coming, talk about what's coming up. Like I want to do this stream like maybe on the 6th or like something like that, like earlier in the month, but things got busy and stuff, so you know what I mean. When things get busy, right? It's always tough to get everything done that you want to get done. So interesting enough, so I have the bigged up chat over here on my second screen, as you can see right here. So I'll be looking over here to kind of to see what's up with chat, and then I have another, well, my iPad kind of on on the information that I'm going to talk on, so it's over here as well. So I got everything set up this time. A little bit more prepared, learning from the first couple live streams and stuff. And let's get into it. So, January 2nd, we faced the Indiana Pacers, and that was a loss. Interesting enough, the Pacers were kind of beating teams at that point. Like, they're really coming on, they were showing their strength, right? Then January 4th, we go into the Bucks and we lose in overtime, which is a tough one. Right. I remember that one, that was tough, right? And then we lose to the Knicks at home, right? So, this is tough 3-game stretch, and I think we should look at it, well, I think the team looks at game stretches in, like, 5-game series is kinda. So, like, if you win 3 out of the 5, you should be good by the end of the season from your seeding, so you can gamble if you've won, like, 3 of the first set or some, I don't know, like, how they really kinda utilize that kind of, and it's really interesting how all this kinda stuff plays out, right? I hopefully my mic's loud enough and stuff. Hold on. So, it's really interesting. We'll look at it in that kind of frame. So, obviously, the Portland game we won 117 to 05. So, around January 8th, we started to see Precious start to really come back into the mix, and we saw a little bit more security at that center position because obviously Ken Birch was coming off that knee kind of thing, right? And he was still rehabbing but trying to play through it, and he tried to like do what he could, but ultimately we saw we needed more even than what Birch could kind of provide on a good day in a sense. So we obviously made the move, and we saw the hole, we saw the statistics, and we saw the metrics from when Koloko was in the lineup versus him out of the lineup, and we saw a way to improve the team drastically by just filling in a certain position, and the metrics said that, right? So we bring in Jakob, better than Koloko in a sense because he has real NBA experience, which is kind of hard to buy in the NBA when you have a winning player that's built up the right way. Usually teams want to make other teams pay out of the wazoo for them, right? So it's what we do kind of. So you know what I mean? It's all the way the NBA works. So let's talk about the Charlotte. We won that one. So that out of a 5-game stretch, out of the first kind of 5 games in January, we won 2, lost 3. So obviously that's not what we're kind of going for in the 5-game stretch, right? So let's see how the next kind of stretch does. So from January 12th, we faced the Hornets. We won 124 to 114. And the Hornets are, yeah, they're kind of a real big mess after losing a huge piece to kind of a really bad off court decision. So it wasn't even like something on court where like Paul George with the American team and broke his leg or something, and then that's kind of why the player's out. The player kind of got into a lot of trouble doing something stupid, and I think ultimately we want to suss out kind of the players initially to really kind of groom those type of issues out, and that's what it means to kind of be like, w- well, when I was doing my kind of like Ben kind of Flynn comparison, and we were comparing his battle to FVV and DeLon's kind of battle. We brought up a clip where DeLon was talking with someone about his career here in Toronto, and they did touch on the point that like the Spurs and the Raptors like similar type of guys, like good guys, like family guys that are into like the proper things, not drugs or like partying or something like that. They're like actually into basketball and think this is they're going to work when they come play in the NBA and stuff and have the right mindset, right? And they kind of touched on it a little bit. Well, we've expanded on it in a numerous videos, so like we don't really have to kind of push super hard on that one right now. But it's I think it's ultimately just about a lot of different things when boiling down the wins and the losses. I think it's obviously a element. It's about the team being good enough. It's not just one player being good enough. If you lose, it's usually for reasons multiple players have bad decision making or whatever different things happen within the game. Coach, you know what I mean, sometimes does some stuff. We're human. Every person in the NBA is human. So sometimes they will make mistakes. It's about or decreasing the amount of mistakes. And that's what Michael Jordan knew. He knew that it was about limiting his turnovers, his missed free throws, and how many times like he missed his shot or whatever, you know what I mean? He was looking at those type of things because those are the things that matter in a sense of winning it all and finally perfecting something over time, right? It's not just about really just holding on to where you're at currently. It's continuing to work on different skills and getting better and improving weaknesses into strengths till one day you're an all around kind of player in your prime that has the ability to be effective on a championship level team, right? And I think that does take some time. So we saw Precious kind of work into the lineup in early January, right? And we saw some of the wins that he could kind of bolster, but we were still lacking, I think, in the center department, obviously. So we'll see, obviously, as we come up on some of the more losses in January. So, obviously, the first part of the bracket here of the next 5 games is the Hornets was a win, right? We lost against Atlanta. That was the Trey Young waving and all that kind of stuff he was doing to us this year, right? Then we went to Madison Square Garden and won in overtime. And I think that kind of really was a good, solid victory. Went to Milwaukee, lost, right? And then we went to the Timberwolves and lost to their like kind of 7 foot creation there too. With kind of, it's interesting how kind of salute Van Who Chris Finch has our number a little bit, but I think that's familiarity with Nick Nurse and how what his tendencies are, and he was really in the kind of Raptors playbook when he was here and doing a lot of work on it. So he obviously knows what where everyone is. Salute Yata. What's up, bruh? Two really good real one fans. So I'll read off what Van Hoot has written here. And player empowerment has shifted things away from accountability. It's hard for coaches to feel comfortable reprimanding players these days, like before, which makes it harder to coach tendencies. Oh, that's big facts, big facts. You see how kind of LeBron has the willingness or the support because he's such a valuable piece and everything's so built around him that it what he says kind of goes. And if he doesn't like the coach and he's not going to be bought in, then the coach has to kind of go to get that kind of effect for him to buy in fully. So it's like it's this weird kind of where we've kind of escalated the players, certain players, to a level so high it's even above the coach in some scenarios. And I think that's where it creates this kind of power like imbalance where it needs to be kind of the coach is in the best mind of the players, but always being kind of like a figure to really guide them on what they should be working on and guide things from a pure standpoint of wanting to actually it's not just about paying them that money, it's about them earning that money and actually being worth that value. So like it's you build value, but like you sign them to bigger contracts, yes, but those contracts are smaller in the sense of what the player is because he continues to develop and like it's an attitude in a sense of appreciating value over time. You have a stock that rises over time based on the hard work and the background of the stock, right? The way that the company performs, whether they have a great CEO in place that's making great decisions like Apple did and exploded like that. It's a similar kind of thing where you want the coach to really have the best thoughts and intentions in everything they do, every coach. So it's really like when the coach says something, it's because he means it and it's for me in a sense. It's always about me growing my value in the league and learning what I need to be doing to be an extremely high efficient winning player. So, all right, I'll get to Van Hoos' second comment because I kind of went off there a bit. But our best bet is get the sixth seed and hope Cavs hold on. If that happens, we can make the second round. Sadly, we don't get a chance to test our mettle against Boston again. Oh yeah, no, I know. But blocking them from Pirtle was a massive, massive play. If they got Pirtle, imagine his playmaking with like Tatum and Brown and like he would be like a kind of a resurgence of the role that Hayward had, but at the center position. So it would like fit even better. So like us blocking from them from that, it's like no. You're good enough right now. Whoa. This is our guy. This is our guy. It Pirtle needs to come home to us, right? So it's like, oh, so like, but I think ultimately the goal is still try to win a round. We need to get over that hump. And I think like my video, I'm gonna record it tomorrow, and then obviously it will come out Saturday, 2 p.m. like it always does. But I'm gonna go into some of the like dynamics of next of the summer, and it's gonna be a really interesting piece, right? About salary. I'm gonna go into like the numbers and show you how we actually keep everyone like not just saying we could keep everyone pay luxury whatever. I'm gonna show like how it breaks down and stuff, so that'll be an interesting one. But salute Yata, of course, yeah bruh. I got the jerseys hung up because I know you wanted, or someone said like they really liked my jersey last time and I was wearing this jersey. It's not a fake background. I could touch the jerseys, they're real. So yeah, that was the Siakam one I was wearing, and I have the We the Champs hat on top. We got the Van Vliet practice OVO one with Rockaware's finest for Rockford's finest. I'm wearing the championship hat that goes on the purple Dino Lowry. I got like a DC hat, Canadian DC hat from my skating days, but on top of Ibaka, I got my GOAT Jordan MJ white, kind of a bit mashed up, but still the GOAT, right? On top of the City Edition Leonard, DeRozan's got a cap, Joseph's got a cap, Bosch has got a cap, and I'm wearing the VC on me. The Carter represent. So, yeah, they're there, and I might talk on them time to time, but just to have something for people to look at from time to time is maybe a nice background. We were talking about it on Raptors Freaks stream today about like upgrading the background. And last time I noticed that my wall was just like bare because I had all this stuff on the other side of the wall, right? So I moved them to this side so you can see it all, right? Yeah. So I'm gonna read off more Van Hoot stuff because his stuff is great. Like he does intellectually think about the game like at a high level and understands that we are growing a lot of the products here too. So players won't like it, but they should allow teams to have more control over the length of G League contracts. Interesting, interesting. I think just because of the transition nature of the G League, where they want the guys to kind of come through, but then be successful players on the other end because they understand the college training, like the training these days isn't good enough for players to understand the NBA game. So they've emphasized the G League and a lot of things that they're doing with the G League that is really solid about really focusing on the pro aspects of getting paid eventually and working your way up and knowing what it takes actually, not just like getting someone that was in the NBA's vision of what you should be doing to get there. You're actually doing stuff that can actually is getting you there in a sense, really actually. So it's interesting. I think that like because of the 4 years of service, it makes it tough for length. So I think they have them cut up already in two ways you could sign in your first 4 years of NBA service, and that allows the team to really bring you up for the 50 games, like we went through in my video and stuff. But um, I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I haven't had a thought on the length of G League contracts. Interesting thought, though. Interesting thought. Haven't had a chance to make the video, but I wrote somewhere else that Pirtle was a great move. I wish that there was subsequent moves, but yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I felt like, yeah, I know people wanted a lot more change than that happened, but I think it's really good to make one change at a time, right? And then evaluate, right? Like we know we had to make the change for Pirtle. So we got Pirtle in here, and now we can judge the other guys with that whole fixed and see how things really shake out, where we need kind of improvement. It's different like avenues, but when you have a chance to kind of isolate decisions and get time on either side of that decision to evaluate what's actually happening and what changes are being made, it's really beneficial towards judging even what needs to be around the main pieces. So it's uh, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like Messiah and Bobby obviously know the inside track of like where everyone's at and who they expect to actually really jump and who's kind of stagnant and meant to just play their role and kind of pass on knowledge more than develop over. So I don't know. It's hard to say, right? Yeah, 10 out of 5. Hell yeah, that the wall looks sick. Respect, respect. I know like it's not about how many jerseys like just because I have a lot of jerseys doesn't equal I love the Raptors a lot, right? I could maybe just have a lot of jerseys, but I actually do. I'm an actual Raptors fanatic, and I like the jerseys. Like, I don't know. I'm indifferent on like basketball hats because they're meant to be like baseball kind of style hats. So I don't know, but I've really always liked jerseys. So yeah, yeah. All right, another comment from Van Who. It's hard to keep everyone without shifting bouchers and others. Possible, but you lose out on the ability to build around the bench, and our positioning and draft will also loom large as well for salary. Oh, I agree. I'm gonna talk about all those points in my drop tomorrow when I'm recording it. It's gonna come out Saturday. I'm gonna worry that I have a thing that people haven't been talking about at all regarding contracts and stuff like that and how to actually hold on, sorry. I don't wanna, like, crush my hat, but I wanna make sure the mic's, like see, now I look like a square kinda with the hat, so, mm, whatever, alright. We'll go square mode so the mic's a little bit better, right? So, it's really interesting how flexible the roster really is. There are a lot of different decisions that can be made to alleviate cap stress and there we could go into the luxury. So like there are a lot of different avenues, but I'm going to discuss a lot of more with it with the numbers in front and stuff and you know what I mean. I break it down. You know what I mean? So did you get the draft hat from this year? It was nice. Ooh, see, I wanna start collecting more Raptors hats because I don't have too many Raptors hats. I have, like, older hats that kinda survived through the years, like the one on top of Joseph, which is the 2nd red closer to me, is a new era hat that I've had for so long, right? And these are just the hats that I haven't managed to lose over the years. So I definitely want to replenish the ranks with a little bit more classy. Like I got the Raptors one. Obviously, everyone has this hat, right? And then I have the shirt, the the Raptors championship shirt right here too, right? And then the We the Champs. Yeah, yeah. You know. Oh, shoot. Alright, I'll just let it sit there. I gotta balance it. It's a little bit all set up the way it is. I gotta balance it back, but no problem. Poor Siakam gets his name cut out now. Jeez. No, Spice. So, okay, so next comment from Van Who. The issue is there's so many G League guys that they lose out on guys early, like us with Saban Lee. I agree. Like there are different like things that happen within the G League, but I think it's just knowing what you have and protecting what's really good. Like we heard that everyone was kind of interested with like Banton this trade off season, and they thought like maybe they'd unload Batten because I'll show what's going on. He needs a new contract coming up this summer, so I have it all figured out nice. And there's a bunch of different options. I show like multiple options. This is too easy to fix. The problem of keeping everyone is too easy to fix. So just everyone can relax on that kind of stuff and I'm gonna show it real for real with the numbers and shit. Yeah. Another comment. Scoot Henderson is coming to Toronto play 9:05 on March 5th. Yeah, that was an interesting game. Raptors Freak was talking about that one. That could be an interesting game to go 9:05. I might touch down there. Like I do live in Saga now. I moved, right? More space out here than the city. It's I mean, that's how it is. So interesting, interesting. A comment from Yata. Yata, yeah, yeah. I like the Joe signing along with it as well. Oh yeah, because we like even from the clips that I've kind of showed it, he understands the offensive system we're running here, and he's able to adapt because he's familiar with the system. So like usually it takes like a guy like 1 2 years to really get in our system and start really showing the benefits of really knowing everything as like the whole playbook and knowing everything inside and out and really being on a string with the other guys. It takes like a year or two, right? And I think just Joe having familiarity with that read and react system could maybe just shorten that kind of time period smaller. But we have a decision to make in the summer, and his money's not guaranteed. So we'll talk about it on the weekend. But definitely, I thought they were definitely liking him because they've done that. They did that with DJ Wilson, but DJ Wilson, when he came back, he was on another 10 day and then signed the min, right? So DJ Wilson was on two 10 days at first, right? Then we let him go. He went to wherever, right? And then we kind of re-signed it back on another 10 day, and then we ended up signing him to the minimum. Then we waived him in the summer. So Joe could maybe go through the same thing, maybe get waived in the summer just because of slot and who we think we really want to keep and stuff. It's just the way the NBA works at the kind of shorter end of the roster. It's less secure because it's all about building around your core and the guys that fit around those guys and their money and everything like that. So it's really interesting how all of it kind of really works out in the end of the day. But we're really good at this point. Masai and Bobby are really on the numbers. I think in my first extension series, I showed that how the way that they structured Boucher's contract is a little hint to kind of some of the solutions I have for the roster in the summer. So I'll continue on. Definitely needed some shooting, and his game is slept on beyond shooting. Oh yeah, definitely sneaky, athletic, and he can defend P well. I really like his off ball IQ as well. Totally, totally making cuts. Like he plays big, like as a defender. Like I think Masai's been looking for that Danny Green type, and he's continuously like kind of trying to push guys up into that kind of Danny Green type or role of three, a really good three, but then providing defense maybe at a taller height. I think that's where Champagny was kind of angled to be at first. So we cut him and we get a more experienced guy that needs less time to get fully right. Like I was saying, he's familiar with the read and react system, and he can maybe adapt a lot quicker than Champagny because we realize that our younger guys can really support our core now that we have Pirtle, and it was looking like we were getting Pirtle. Like we have a solid core now, a solid 3 man like prime core, and then kind of OG Trent and a whole bunch of different pieces that kind of fit, but maybe we can get better fits. Who knows? But ultimately, it's about like kind of the core and retaining the core this summer. I think is a big key. I'm going to show how we do that, right? And Joe, I think, is a really interesting case. Like I'd love to see he'll get more time. If we actually kind of get closer to that kind of playoff berth, we might rest a guy or two a day or two, and there might be a free up of minutes. But also, I want to kind of save this point for the video, but I'll bring it out here. Getting Jakob Pertl and securing the front line defense, like I mentioned in my video last week, we like we don't mind our guards not being like crazy super athletic because their job is to kind of steer the other guys into the defense where we have the crazy athletic length like you know what I mean like you know what I mean I so it's like it's the point guard's job to steer them into the defense, but now that our defensive back line is more secure, that opens up the possibilities where we're not always kind of needing a perfect kind of front line and guards that know their spots because there's so much switching and so much collapsing and recovering that kind of Pirtle stabilizes the defense a lot more by able to take on that center matchup one on one. And I think that's where we can open up to have maybe looser guards on the defense because he's back there being the safety net. You know what I mean? He's the guy that kind of is the back line, and it's being more secure and having more secure help that's not always forced to rotate, and we're more choosing when we want to rotate. So that makes a more kind of organic switching and helping in the post versus where now they can push us to really collapse the post. It's an easy method. Pass it to your big guy and watch Toronto collapse, and then watch them scramble to shooters. And a lot of teams have been using that because that was a weakness of ours. And we've seen a lot of corner threes, product of that, wide open top of the key threes after someone X's out the corner guy and they pass it one off. I think this will stabilize our defense a lot more where we can have Doughton, Bannon, Flynn playing more minutes because they're not needed to do so much based on the help that needs to be given to that center position based on Pirtle being here. And I think it opens up a lot of different options. Like I said, that's why we're seeing a lot of guys get a lot of minutes now. And we're going to see a lot more of that once we realize and Pirtle's able to really integrate into that fully backline piece that's commanding defense and doing a lot of different things for us back there, right? So, all right. So I'll continue on. Van Hoot's got a bunch of comments here. Salute Mo. Salute Raptors freak Mo. She's like a big time around the arena, to like talking to everyone, and like she's definitely like got people and stuff. And she's a great Raptors fan, always positive. I love that element. It makes enjoying a team with positive people something so much better because you're looking for the positive stuff, and it's really fun to really notice things that other people also care about and stuff. So it's really cool. And we got Dean TV, salute my guy. I got the a bit of the winter Dean beard going on. Like usually like in the summer I shave everything off, so it's kind of like gotten a little bit struggly during the winter season, but that's how I do, just trying to keep my face warm during the winter, you know. All right, so I'll continue on with the comments. I'm a little behind, but we'll continue on. I think there's a lot of good stuff being said in the comments, right? So, Van Hoot, I wanted the draft hat, but I waited on it for this year. Interesting, interesting. So, like, to have one of the Raptors hats, you wanted a really good draft looking hat. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, yeah. Like with some of the jerseys, I was really selective. Like when you get so many, you have to kind of be selective of the new entry, and like it's expensive too, so you have to balance like budget and all those type of things. But I definitely would like to get more hats, but that one, I'm gonna take a look at it. I've mental marked it. I pinned that. I'm really good at pinning things and remembering them for later, so I'll definitely talk to you on that. Oh, Van Hoot saying I don't have any Raptors jersey. Yeah, I guess like as a student guy, I didn't have the money to really buy jerseys. Like early on, I had this VC, right, and then the Bosch, and then my wallet started opening up as I became an adult and started buying more. And I have a bunch, like 5 champions and Demar and Joseph, and then Bosch and Vince. So yeah, I'm more selective now because especially pandemic, I bought this one like after the bubble because no one was buying Siakam jerseys and it was on sale for $70 brand new. So it was a deal. And then Surge Surge just didn't sign, so that was actually on sale for $30. So I grabbed Run It Back Ibaka and then Run It Back Siakam and then Van Vliet recently, but I haven't picked up too many jerseys because there's like COVID and all that kind of stuff. I didn't get to wear the ones that I bought before. So yeah, it's all good. Some people, I don't judge people based on how many jerseys, how much they like the Raptors. That's not something that's real. People that have no money love basketball and like, you know what I mean? Like usually grow up to be NBA players. There's a lot of players that never even had a jersey growing up that became NBA players and had their own jersey. So that's not the judgment line of whether you're a fan or you know what I mean? So don't worry, bro. Like the hats, I'll definitely into hats too. Did you try the McDonald's swirl? Uh, swirl pea instead of spicy pea, it's swirl pea now. That's jokes. No, but McDonald's understands the brand and image that Pascal's built, and that's a good partnership to kind of official guy. You know, he's not gonna have any crazy stories like James Harden where he's spanking strippers with like McDonald's money or something like that. You know what I mean? Salute Black Hawk up in the building. Yeah, yeah. Chilling, just chatting on people in the chat. I know it's like a slow day in the NBA, so I maybe want to finally kind of fill the airspace and stuff and talk about some of the stuff I'm doing the month previous, and then obviously like trade deadline, all that kind of stuff. But I'll continue on here, right? So Van Hoot's saying when I say lose out, there's are mechanisms that they lose out on. I wish it were more like baseball in that sense. Okay, interesting, like being able to hold a prospect for a lot more years. And like I understand the development system of the like baseball. They go through like 4 or 5 leagues before they even touch the NBA or the MLB, like at the top level. It's years and years of working your way up through multiple leagues to the point where what you're seeing on the like MOB level is very perfected and developed out players that are really solid all around to make the game more beautiful and less kind of like tank ball where everyone's like it looks like the G League. Like when the NBA teams play like G League teams in that kind of level, it does lower the product value. People aren't going to watch that kind of stuff. So like really trying to solve this kind of tanking thing is for like the people that pay the money, like ESPN pays whatever, like billions of dollars, whatever TV companies pay, they rely on ratings to sell advertising during the games. And that's how they make money off buying these exclusive big contracts with the NBA. And it's the NBA's job to make sure that all the games have high ratings and trying to eliminate where only certain games really get tons of ratings and not other games. So increase parity and do a lot of different things. They're trying to tinker with different things in mid-season tournament and all this kind of stuff. So they're trying to incite the kind of the the people that pay, like the television companies, to have these contracts to provide NBA and stuff like that. It's a lot of money stuff, right? But they want games to be more entertaining all throughout, all of them, all of them. They want to see two tanking teams, and they know advertisers aren't going to buy on that those type of games, right? So we'll continue on. The G League comment was more focused on my comment about player control. Oh, yeah, yeah, like similar to baseball, where you have a lot more leniency from when you get the player from draft to have them develop and stuff. And I understand the NHL has a couple different things as well. So yeah, yeah, they wanted Joe since Banton's draft. Interesting, interesting. Hmm, interesting. Was he taken, like, before Banton? Because I think maybe that was maybe the second pick they were looking at. Maybe they wanted Banton Wieskamp like draft with Scotty. That would be a nice little like trio there, like a shooter, kind of bigger, a, another kind of PG. No, okay, you can let me know what's going on with that. I didn't even check on his kind of draft. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, David, not like I keep forgetting his name. It's just like David and Johnson. There's so many Davids and there's so many Johnsons. My bad, my bad. I'll move on and we'll get to it, right? Yata, for sure, completely agree. And then Yata, I don't know what it is, but doesn't Joe have a decently positive wingspan also? Yeah, yeah, he's a bigger guy. Like he does, and then he can shoot at a bigger length, and that's where I think you want a guy that's taller that can shoot as well, as good as some of the smaller shooters. It's about arm length and like controlling, like the longer it takes for you to release the ball in your arm action is based on the length of arm. So to have really tall shooters like Durant and Spicy is really hard because the dynamics of the longer arm and timings and a whole bunch of different things, right? So it's like when you have a taller shooter, it's a lot more valuable in a sense because the length that they can provide and the switchability on defense now, right? With the switchable league. So I think having like a Danny Green type where he's taller, can kind of defend guards, defend like the post a bit, right? Do transition defense, but then also be a guy that spaces the floor for a lot of your main action guys. All right, I'll continue on here. So Raptors superfan Mo the greatest. Yes, definitely the greatest. Finally catching you, Mike Go Raps. Yeah, I don't do too many lives. Like like this is probably more of the first official live in a sense. I kind of delete the other ones. And there was a little bit of I would say not uh unsavory behavior on some of the other streams, and I'm just gonna clean it up from now on. We got the monster here, right? No issues with no one. Don't wanna. I just want to make it enjoyable for everyone, right? So Dean TV, what's good, Mike? And then yeah, so real. Like when I was talking about different stuff before, I can't remember exactly where you said that, but I know about around what type. Blackhawk, yeah. A lot of peace, salute. Got the six, yeah, yeah. Six up, yeah. And you gotta fill it up, bro. Yeah, we'll fill up the basket tonight. Well, today with some just good points and stuff. Oh, okay, and then Yata is clarifying. Oh, Van Hoot first says no, and then Yata's saying, yeah, Spurs took him before. Okay, yeah. They wanted to take Joe before and then Ben, and then he was the David Jones. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get that. I was kind of trying to figure out where he was picked because I know Ben and David Johnson's picks were one after another. So he'd have to either be picked before that, right? The logic kind of deducts itself versus like if they were separated, maybe he was picked in between where Ben was picked first and then kind of Spurs took Wieskamp, and then we took David, right? So, yeah, yeah, I get what's going on there. Yeah, I'll just skip a bit of that and then get to Yata and then Van Hoot's comments about Wieskamp. So he is a really high IQ player and stays ready. His shooting pocket is also higher up, so when he catches, he can sling it effectively. Yeah, yeah. Like I was talking about in one of the episodes, it like Van Vliet has a harder time because he's smaller and needs the ball on certain trajectories. But I think everyone's kind of adjusting, and I think Jakob definitely knows how to where Van Vliet's kind of sweet spot for him is, and we've seen already the kind of escalation between their tandem and kind of Pirtle knowing Van Vliet's game over time, and maybe Pirtle can really help Scotty understand that part and really be able to activate Fred Van Vliet more when he's playmaking or trying to score, because it's also having effective passing to have effective scoring. So like you're always making the defense choose different things and making them either double team you to kind of try to cover both options, or you're doing the option that they're leaving you, which is reading the defense, and then what opening they give you, you're playing to it. But being more versatile has you able to take advantage of those openings on the court, where I think Gary Trent needs to kind of build up his game a little bit more. Like he does have the Carden kind of hardened style, kind of mid range and three, the way he works that kind of like dribble step drive, like, you know what I mean? We were talking about it in the extension series back in the summer, but like I think the next level for Gary Trent Jr. is to really start reading the defense, start finding better spots, like more organic in the defense, but then also growing his IQ once he's starting to read the defense more, being able to pass more and stuff, and be able to pass to get a better shot and not just always be kind of like the guy that ends up finishing a lot of things, where he can be a connective piece where the whole team is a synergy of everyone's passing to everyone and it's working because we've kind of practiced things out. And it's it's how we're trying to build things over time. Like it's not just a 1 year thing where you get to build everything up. It's over time where you build up options, and when those openings come, everyone's on the same page because they've seen this before. They've seen that script before. And that's how you build up that kind of read and react system, by building familiarity, but also building on experience by choices, wrong decisions, improving different skills to make the decisions better and easier to choose from, right? All right, so I'm going to continue on. I feel like I missed that streak. I don't know exactly what you're keying at there. I'm gonna try to be quicker with it. I was around, or Dean TV saying it was around. It's not about how many jerseys one owns. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's not about that, right? You could have one jersey, you could have zero jerseys, and still be the Raptors' greatest fanatic. I'm not. That's material stuff doesn't like impress me in a sense. This is more I have love and like attachment to like different jerseys and stuff, and that's my own thing, but I don't judge, like, I'm not a big shoe guy. I have, like, 2 pairs of shoes, like, Timberland boots and then, like, some, like, running shoes, like, clean looking running shoes. I don't really have even basketball shoes or whatever, so, like, I don't know, you know what I mean? To everyone their own kind of thing, what they like and what they're into. And then Van Hoot saying, "Yeah, Davids was selected first, which sucks because if he was picked second, oh, maybe they want to line up Ben and Powell, because Powell was picked 46. So it's like, look at Powell. Powell was picked here, and look what he did. You can do this, Ben. I swear. You're you're 46th pick. You have the ability to do the same thing that Norman Powell did. Maybe it's something like that. Who knows? The mind thing, like mind Jedi mind tricks from Masai, like trying to push every little button he can that's right in a positive direction, right? And then Yata's saying, Gary's good at navigating and pick and roll scenarios, but he needs to read how they're covering him and how he can set up the roller off that. Yeah, exactly. You understand like that the next level of what Harden kind of has, where that awesome kind of pick and roll game with the passing and stuff, because he's such a lethal shooter that they will have to guard his shooting. But if he's passing, the passes are so much more open because they are guarding his shooting more heavily, right? So definitely facts. And oh yeah, definitely then Gary would be lethal pick and roll operator. Like he's already eating off Siakam in that sort of style of pick and roll, but if he can dish it back to the big and have a little bit more options that way, kind of when the defense is on him, he's not just going into that kind of dribble drive step and kind of doing a mid range. Maybe we look for a more high percentage shot, like dishing it to Pirtle, which is a 60 like 60% shooter man that kind of do the inside for us, right? And I think we saw a lot of little bunnies being missed, and I think Pearl really solidifies a lot of those shots, and they will take away from some of the other guys' shots. But in time, I think their shots will improve, and then Pirtle won't be have to be so utilized in that inner position shooting mold, and maybe he works on 3 pointers. And you see how kind of we rotate guys around for them to really grow different aspects of their game and really kind of change up the offense because when it gets stale, that's what happens when you get swept. Casey kept doing the same stuff and LeBron just ate it up and swept us. And that's where I think Nick Nurse is always every year trying to reinvent things and really trying to escalate development in certain ways, but obviously he makes miscalculations in how much he thinks someone has progressed and might have to pull back on certain strategies and different things. Yeah. But it's ultimately building off a system that can work in a championship game, but it can also work in a preseason game. It's a like a system that works all the time versus just remembering plays and using them sometimes, and then when those break down, having nothing to go back to. So we're kind of learning in breakdown all the time, and then we could set up plays in the between of us reading, reacting, and doing a lot of different things. I think that's the way that you kind of want to build a morphing and evolving championship team. That way GSW has and gotten the way they have, right? So Van Hoot saying, anyways, I got a jet. I think I maybe missed something. I will say one thing, Yata. Gary is good at dribbling and creating in it, but as a primary, he would need to improve his playmaking a lot. Exactly. And right now, he's more of like an accompanying guy. He's not like when I was talking about the offense in my offensive video, we were talking about offensive creators that can make advantages for others. He's more of a guy that eats off the advantages, doesn't create them at this moment because of the limitation of not being able to pass as much. Where FEV, slight as they are, he does make certain advantages. Pascal makes a lot of advantages. Scotty makes advantages. Everyone makes certain interesting advantages when they're in a one-on-one scenario and different things, and we try to take advantage of that. It's reading where those advantages are and capitalizing on those advantages to make buckets easier and in turn win the game, right? So all right, and then yeah, Van Hoot's got a jet. Deed, yeah, I'm a Timberland. I could see you rocking like kind of I got the brown Tims too. I had like the black kind of leather Tims. I think a lot of people had them with the cursive handwriting flip down. I love the flip down Tims because if like my ankles are getting all sweaty and stuff, you can just like roll it down and stuff. So Yata is saying absolutely he's not a great playmaker in any means. Yeah, and that's where I think it can grow, right? We saw what happened to DeMar DeRozan. DeMar was characterized as a black hole on offense. He's always taking the shot, right? Doesn't matter if there's 20 defenders in front of DeMar, he's taking that shot. You know what I mean? That kind of attitude. But when he went to San Antonio, Pop got it in his head, "Hey, we need you to really be the guy that distributes for this team for us to be successful." And I think DeMar has always wanted to really win over himself, but he was really kind of stubborn and stuck in his ways a little bit. And maybe the trade humbled him a little bit to open his avenues up a little bit more. And he became an excellent playmaker. And is really showing what kind of years Pop can improve your playmaking. Like, yeah, Caperto kind of got his playmaking supercharged by the system that Pop runs and allowing guys to make certain decisions, reading defense and playing to make their teammates better. It's always about like a team ball aspect with Pop, and that's why we like the same players as they do because they're kind of more in the same system. Like just buy-in wise, we need guys to really buy into the fact that team ball is the best ball and it's going to win us the more games than anyone kind of going hero or whatever, you know what I mean? So continue on, right? And then Van Hoot says people like the stream support your streamers. Yeah, salute for the support. Thank you. Later, Van Hoot from Yata. Yeah. Van Hoot says cheers. And then Yata's saying, I was watching Koloko on the bench when Yak was in the game. He looks like he's trying to learn as much as he can from Yak, which is perfect. Exact reaction I wanted from Koloko. Exactly. Exactly. This is what he's in here for too. Like it's not just him playing right now. We get more value from because his model is really great and we can use it to develop Coloco. So Masai's always looking for that double value. It's not just what the player provides on the playing level. What do they provide IQ wise and can help other guys develop and get our other pieces better? So there's always two sides of the value from Masai. It's either mentor value or playing value. And he loves guys that have playing value and mentor value. And that was what we built this kind of culture off of, DeMar. I think I'll go into a couple key points I was going to touch down on later or tomorrow, but it's really interesting how the attitude of the players have was galvanized by the way DeMar was and Lowry was. And they truly built something here that has continued on today behind the scenes. We don't always see everything, but I'm going to break it down right here. So, we've been talking a lot about we've modeled our development system after the way DeMar used to go in summers and every summer try to learn something new, add to his game, add to his game, add to his game, and stuff like that. And we let our younger players watch that for a bunch of years and really say, okay, that's the way. If it like, because we gave DeRozan the max contract, so it says, okay, if you want a max, you got to do the same stuff, right? It's deductive logic in a sense of modeling, but now all our guys are kind of about that every summer. Like we do it with every guy up and down, and it took the top guy in a sense to really buy in to that thought, to really let everyone else know down the roster that this is the way we're doing things, right? And I think his pillar is hard work, the continuous hard work, off season, on season, doesn't matter. In the gym every day, getting your shots, win or lose, still working on your game, always continuing to build that kind of craft that gets you more money. Like it's not just for nothing in a sense, but it also is for the love you have of the sport and wanting to be better for bragging rights or whatever you goals you have within the game attached to family things or whatever, right? Everyone has different motivations beyond the money, but the money is definitely part of it and definitely a nice definitely reward for a lot of the work they've put in since kids and so many years of developing and stuff, right? So we'll continue on and salute Raptors, dude, showing up. Yeah, I'm doing like a sports thing, but you may understand, you may not. It's all good. We're chilling, just talking Raptors. I think just like I think Yata, obviously you really understand what I'm trying to say with the mold system. It's just like it's just role models. I'm giving it fancy terms and coding and all this kind of stuff. right? But ultimately, it's just like role modeling skills for younger guys to build their game off of, and then using their intellectual and IQ to add to those skills. So it's not just about here's the tool, do it, right? It's letting them know all the lessons that it takes to utilize that tool long term, right? And learning the proper way. So you're learning proper methods to use that tool safely and effectively. And that will provide better results, cleaner results, so you can make the finishing product even better, right? So, like, there's a lot of different mechanics involved with what we're doing with that. I'm just getting a lot of fancy talk, just to trying to give it some more relativity. Like if you name something, you give it more power or understandability to attach to certain ideas. So I'm just trying to lay out certain concrete ideas in a format where it's easy to attach and understand a lot more of all the crazy stuff I'm doing on this channel development wise. And it's not linear. Like players are people. The way people grow in life, NBA players grow in a similar way. Their games can grow in a whole bunch of different avenues and stuff. And it's just about them really wanting to go out there and grab it, right? So I'll go on to the next thing, right? So he understands the team, sees he has his flaws, and instead of getting complacent. He's trying to take it in as much knowledge as he is possible to fix them. Great signs from a rookie. Exactly. You can't like hold everything. Just know we always talk about snapshots. So that's where we keep the guys like, okay, this is your previous snapshot. That doesn't say what your game is tomorrow. Keep working. There's definitely we're seeing we're gonna try to focus on obviously improvements that he's shown in his game. And then also point out, hey, look, we see you're getting better here, but you need work here. And it's a balance of different things when you're kind of pointing out kind of rookie success and failure. You want to balance it out so you're not bigging them up and you're not tearing them down too much, right? It's a really Masai understands the people balance a bit, right? So it's really interesting. Uh, Yak, not yak. Oh, I might have said something kind of funny. That's interesting. Uh, I'm getting to the Raptors dude comment. Hey, logical Raptors fanatic in chat. Yeah, Raptors dude is a guy that Dean TV has like a video game channel. He's on there. Albert as well. Well, I don't know. There's a lot of beef a bit maybe, so I don't know if Albert's too connected to that anymore. Albert does his own stuff, kind of really funny, like impressions, just talking the smack and like just trying to get laughs. You know what I mean? It's just place to laugh. I definitely saw his last kind of video. It was kind of like funny and interesting. It's more like about the world that kind of like encompassed the video game retro video gaming because I'm actually big video game head too. Sports, like a whole bunch of I'm on like a bunch of different things. So yeah. Salute Albert, Mike G, Rabbit, man, yeah. Salute. Everyone's saluting each other, yeah. And then Yata saying, absolutely, Malachi was using the post defensive technique. We we say him we saw him using in the open gym video against Thad. I forgot against who, but it was a big and it worked. It it's just like you said, role model. Yeah, exactly. It's understanding different techniques to like mitigate. Okay, you're smaller. Use that to your advantage. If you're smaller, he can't see you as good when he's trying to back you down and use the power to overpower you so you can kind of slip around, and as he pushes in you can make him pay for it by swiping at the ball. If he wants to push in again, swipe again. You know what I mean? It's like this kind of like he doesn't want to go back in close to you because he knows you're going to strong hand the ball some way. And it's just logical stuff like that. Like you don't have to be strong enough. It's stopping the ball. The ball is everything. The ball is everything. It doesn't matter how big you are. If you don't have the ball, you're like there's certain things you're unable to do, and when you stop dribbling, you're stuck there in position, so you can't back down anymore. So if you create a scenario where the guy has to put two hands on the ball because the control issue, like you poke it out a bit and he has to catch it with two hands or whatever, maybe it makes him uncomfortable. But if you poke and deflect, I think he gets a new possession off that. So it's a lot of different things. It's getting in their mindset, pressuring, like being there. Just being there is sometimes just good enough to really make a guy uncomfortable because he's thinking about you. He has to think about you because you're that close, right? So I think there's a lot of different things. And maybe Malachi didn't get the understanding of what forwards are trying to accomplish. Maybe he thought it was just kind of like a push thing, and it wasn't like they're trying to get different things accomplished, and you could utilize different, like I explained it out. You know what I mean? Like when a guy's backing down a smaller guy, where you're gonna see him? He's as tall as like near your butt level in a sense of what it looks like on some of the bigger guys. Like you're really down there, and he can't turn your head completely to see what's in the middle of your back. So you can use that where he looks back one time and you make sure you're on the one side, and when he looks away, you kind of attack the other side. And then he's thinking you're over there because the last time he checked, you're over here and doing what you're supposed to. And there's a it's IQ back and forth, seeing what he sees and understanding what he sees and what you can do to kind of mitigate what he's trying to do. And it's a lot of defense is stopping offense. And that's what I was saying. It's hard to really weigh those defensive stats because it's based on things like that. Like Malachi was doing there, just making it tougher, just making uncomfortable, pressuring the guy that's trying to create the offense to make a mistake. And we capitalize on those mistakes. And when we see advantages, we're taught to take take the right path off that advantage. If it's stealing the ball or whatever kind of, like, once we get the ball in our hands, there's a lot of different things that activate, right? There's a lot of lane coverages. There's three lanes coming down the court. We want guys running in every lane, spacing out properly, running to the 3-point line when they hit the base. You know what I mean? All that kind of stuff, you know what I mean, in transition, right? But it's definitely about, like, showing them a way and then giving them an opportunity. Like, once you've realized, "Okay, this guy got it, he has it now. He has what he's supposed to have in this scenario," and then offer him the opportunity to show it live game by putting the responsibility of him to do that in game. And that's how we do it, kinda defense and offense. Obviously, it starts with the defense first. If you can't defend in our team systems, it makes it hard to put you anywhere, period. But once you have the defensive stuff, now we're looking for an anchor skill, some sort of anchor skill, like a three ball or passing or something like that. And we played with a lot of players that were missing different elements. Like Bembury wasn't great at shooting, but he was better at passing, right? Then Ronde was like better at rebounding, but was worse at passing. And well, he kind of passed all right. It wasn't like total, but Ronde wasn't good at shooting either. So like you're trying to lessen the effect of these guys by having other guys that are better in those positions. But ultimately, you want guys that can eventually grow to the point where those weaknesses are fixed, and it allows you to free up that position to do other things and have more options and versatility. And that's how we build up. It's like building one block back to build a more sturdy block up. It's like it's hard to explain, but it's that's how we build to the core in a sense, and we use different players and different fits to kind of rotate guys in and out of roles to really collectivize this kind of versatile core that has played in different positions because we've had guys to fill in with their position when they're doing other stuff. And there's a lot of different things that come with that. I'm gonna have a quick break. Sorry, guys. Just real quick, real quick bathroom and stuff. I'm gonna let you just like peep the jerseys without me in my big head here. All right, I'll be back, guys. Hey guys, sorry. I just needed a quick smoke break and bathroom. But we'll get back to the good Raptors talk. Yeah, chilling. All right. So from what I was talking about, we were talking about role models and the model system or the mold system. Mold system is the mold system is definitely a lot of what I want to build on. Some of the stuff, and obviously, like it's really interesting, just the possibilities of different things and how they've kind of unfolded, and just knowing what kind of different things you can change and what different things can be developed is really interesting. Trying to picture what Siakam looks like in a couple years when he's got a couple more tools in that tool belt. He needs like multiple bags because he's got so many tools to kind of really rely on and win the game and stuff. So it's really interesting how everything really is, right? All right. So we'll get back to the comments. I don't know what G's is talking about, but that's my dog. What? Hmm? Hmm? Whose dog? Oh, I was on top comments. Oh no. I might have missed some comments. Jeez. I have to remember to put that on. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. Sorry if I didn't get your comment because it had like it wasn't some I hate the settings on YouTube sometimes, man. It's just so annoying. All right, we'll continue on here. So, Albert, I'm the same way. I'm not a sports guy. It's all good. Hey, I appreciate you guys coming in, checking me out for a hot second, you know what I mean? I know I'm not talking a lot of video games at this moment, but I definitely enjoy my times when I come in, like usually like Sunday morning or something like that. Like Dean's having a good stream, we're all having a laugh or whatever. Or sometimes I'm checking out Albert's kind of videos and stuff like that, having a good laugh when I see something kind of funny pop up. And then rabbit dude, you're chilling around. Yeah, yeah. In the summer, I'm more. I have more time to kind of because I don't have to pay attention to so much Raptor stuff in the summer. So I usually go out and expand my horizons in the summer. Like the way the players go and develop a new skill, I go learn something new. I go like try something, you know what I mean? Like try well, based on my different hobbies, right? Obviously, I'm not going skydiving just to go skydiving or something like that. But anyways, salute everyone though from that side and like just subbing, coming in on the lives and throwing a like maybe or two. You know what I mean? Like just obviously really helps because I'm a developing channel, young in the timeline. We're still in our rookie season, first year. So hey, we're gonna continue to grow the right way. We don't need immediate results. We're gonna just continue to grow right and gonna build on what we've been building on. Just build it on the development system. Like it's like I'm growing like the Raptors are growing, and we'll see how things are in a couple of years. And it'll be interesting to look back on a lot of this stuff, right? So, all right. So next comments. All right. DTV says, I don't know these people. Albert and Rabbit, dude. I'm here for basketball. My favorite team is the New Orleans Jets. We know which team's your team, and they got smoked. We got our revenge with our new weapon. You had to have seen Pirtle smushing on the lowly. Well, you guys are looking for high draft picks at this moment. You're rebuilding a lot better, more talented kind of core. We'll see how it kind of shakes out. But Orlando Magic fan, we like Barnes, but Suggs, hey, some of our faithful, or not faithful, I wouldn't call them faithful, but observers of the Raptors, because Lex has kind of not called them fans anymore either. So I'll follow suit a bit. Well, it's funny, but you know, like guys that kind of they're talking about like wanting Suggs now. I'm like, oh, so Dean, you got like Suggs is impressing some of us Raptors fans enough to say like we want him over here. So there's something going on there. But no, Franz Wagner, Wagner, he's gonna definitely be good. He looks real good, like kind of like the new kind of Jokic playmaking types, like they're coming out, right? Man, like Franz is gonna be a solid player. I see that for him. Yeah. So you have like Franz, Paulo Bencaro looks decent, big, 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 and we'll see how. Like I haven't watched too much of him yet, but it'll be interesting to see how kind of he develops out. And you got Suggs there too. I know he hasn't shown a lot yet, but I think he does have some kind of fight and spirit, and I think he has that dog in him, and he'll develop the dog over time. Lowry wasn't much in his first couple years, wasn't getting too many results, but now he's growted, right? He's like the greatest Raptor of all time now. So like Suggs, his first couple years won't really dictate completely where he goes. It's about him continuing to work on his game and realize that he needs to understand the higher side of the game, not just like use his athleticism, but actually work on the IQ, study the game, really start learning all the positions. And it's point guard stuff, right? You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting. You guys have there's Waltman that used to work with us. That was we had to kind of either give him and this like we had to give him a GM role or let him go, and he went with you guys, which I'm fine with. I guess that's what happens, right? We chose to stick with Bobby, and you guys got. I think his first name is Jeff. There's so many Jeffs and so many different names in the Raptors organization. It's funny. I'm terrible with names, but I'm good with like what the person did because I think that's like more important. If you start saying what a person did, I could figure out who it is and what name is ultimately doesn't matter. It's about the person, the person. Like their name could be Bumba who like I don't know, like some crazy stuff. Like it doesn't matter as long as they they play the game and I'll respect them for who they are, whatever culture they come from. I know that like I in the scheme of Toronto, I've kind of have a different kind of thing. So it's let's get back into the basketball though. Basketball. Basketball. We're playing that basketball. So, all right, Yata say that's somewhere Pascal has really improved. He doesn't panic anymore, keeps his dribble live, and reads what the help defender is doing. If they hesitate or are late rotating, he rises up and scores. Exactly. It's over time reading the different scenarios, where the help's going to come from. Like understanding, having your head on a swivel, and really being able to take in information a lot quicker by looking at something and realizing right away. It's almost like instinctual in the brain. Like you can see that this is how they're going to attack the double team and stuff, and you're going to get your advantage when this guy makes his move and stuff like that. Lowry was great at that kind of stuff, gauging when people were moving off different guys, and he would find the pockets within the pockets of kind of threading the needle and stuff like that. You know what I mean, right? So he used his IQ of understanding what the offense should be doing, and Van Vliet does it in a sort of similar way. But I think he hasn't had the opportunity to really grow his playmaking game yet, really completely, like he has in the last 2 years, and we've seen kind of an improvement from that end where he used to not be able to make certain passes and now he's making certain passes that he was unable to make before. He's doing certain his layups are kind of getting more crazy and kind of better with the spin control and stuff like that. Carry him off the basket. If he spins it a certain way, it's gonna kick in a certain angle either into the basket or not, right? So it's like a lot of spin control and stuff like that. And he's really developed that understanding that his shortness limits his ability to make layups. So he has to be able to kind of really break the laws of physics in a sense of how he has to go out at making layups because the defenders will always be positioned to go for to stop the easiest route. So if he's shooting it straight up and then it kicks off rotation, it works all like that kind of it's just really quick judgment calls and stuff like that. So I think just it's about guys just evolving and maybe like refining over time. Like obviously like there is going to be some crazy new growth from Van Vliet's game in a sense of what else is he going to do because he's already kind of good and kind of stable at a lot of different things. It's about refining the different skills he has and make the things that he's great at and that we rely on him for better. And Siakam, and it's everyone like that, right? So it's up and down the roster, right? And I think you're totally right on point with how he just doesn't panic anymore. Like before, he used to kind of drive into a couple bodies and then lose the dribble because he'd hesitate and then kind of move at the same time, and he wasn't being decisive. His body and his mind weren't on the same track in a sense, and that's where you're like it has to be like you don't. It's weird how things work. I understand because like I was gonna go into my history, but it's not important at this moment. But continue on with the comments and stuff. But keeping his dribble alive is key to still having options because he's still a triple threat. As long as the dribble's live, he is a triple threat. Once the dribble stops, he doesn't have the option to drive anymore, right? So it's either shoot or pass. And that's why reloading and kind of passing it back to Van Vliet and then maybe Van Vliet passes it back to Siakam, reloading his dribble so he has the ability to be triple threat again. And you refresh that. And that's why I kind of like we do these kind of like pass back kind of scenarios and stuff like that. But he's definitely gotten his handle is a lot smoother and tighter, and like he hesitates way less and attacks the gaps a lot cleaner. He gets to the secondary of the defense and he's able to make the second decision correctly. Like the first decision is so much of non-decision that he's really only have to make that second decision against the secondary defense, so the front line of whatever, and if they're collapsing against him, he has to make the decision to pass out, right? Or if he thinks he can kind of work the guy forward and then step back into a nice midi in one of his spots, he has license to do that as the guy for us, the guy that's getting the max, that kind of has we everyone else has to fit towards Siakam. That's how it's supposed to work. But we don't run Siakam into the ground. We support him properly with guys that can be focal points away from him when it needs to be and all that kind of stuff. So it's not like we're he's the guy all the time and that's all it is. We definitely have other options other than him when he's being really we're not forcing him to go against four guys if he has to. We definitely have kind of scenarios in place with other players and where they're supposed to be and what actions are supposed to be read. Like Joe Wieskamp was saying exactly this. Those optional shoot Rico runs are vital to his relationship and how more advanced he can get within the system and play better based on how much time he gets to read and react off those guys' drives real time, like in a game. It's not just video. He's there and spacing for them and seeing like how they pass to him and stuff like that. And like working with guys, reading their drives and understanding what it looks like from on the court is a different feeling, and getting in that game motion and like Big Cat was talking about a lot of the benefits of that kind of like it's the underground fight club that you don't see. Like it's like the Larry Tannenbaum's basement or something like that, where they have the Rico runs or something like that, and like no one's supposed to really have an eye on what's going on there, and that's where they make a lot of decisions. If they're trying different things out, they're experimenting behind the scenes versus on court. Yeah, we eventually look to see if it can actually be implemented in game, and we try it once, but we've tried it millions of times behind the scenes and have only previewed it once. But we're always practicing it and thinking about it, and it's part of the playbook and play sets. And with such develop it like always developing players, you have to have a coach that's able to utilize everyone equally and to the utmost. And I think Nick does try to do that to the most part. I think he understood that the starters needed a lot of work and experience to really get to the point where we could get a kind of playoff team that could win a series, and that was the focus of the last couple of years, riding the starters really hard before they enter their prime and really get them up to speed to really be that kind of core that can be a kind of flotation device that can help bring the team up like here, and then Scotty, Precious, and Coloco are kind of the build on the boat. So we build on to that ship. They're like we have players to bring us up to level, and then those guys will what they do will take us over the edge in a sense of development and whatnot. The way Siakam, Van Vliet, Powell, and then Lowry, older vet, but we developed him over time. We developed the plays with him and what different options and grew his kind of game and his command of the team, right? So I'll continue on a little bit of like wow, already an hour 30. Wow. All right, yeah, Yata, you're good. You haven't missed anything. Oh, okay, salute. Yeah, I was just worried about at first making sure that I wasn't on top chat and not live. Yeah. Oh, salute, Goat Mike. His channel, he's a big Kobe fan, like Lakers fan, has like a barbershop kind of like blood support style a little bit where you can debate topics and stuff. And I seen Boston Sports was over on his channel and stuff. It's a little bit more of the kind of like unruly kind of stuff. Maybe not like, you know what I mean, like a little bit raw. It's definitely like raw, like truth kind of stuff, right? Salute, my guy. Definitely, if if the Laker thing lines up and I'm not busy at that time, we'll definitely maybe do like a Lakers thing stream or something like that. DTV is like, oh man, why you gotta bring it up, bruh? Because you guys got us. Hey, you guys gave it as much as you got it this year. So we went even, 2-2, right? And the way you handled us at the time that we were really like a lot of fans were on the fence. Like the Orlando losses were triggering for like the fan base hard. I wasn't triggering too hard off it, but so it's kind of funny how it's almost opposite now because Yak definitely makes a big difference in that front court, right? And then you have to say, yeah, Franz is so talented. I'm a huge fan of. Yeah, like I think like he thinks the game, like I think that's just the next level of just being a true student of the game, like really thinking the game and just being imaginative, like instead of being like stuck in boxes, right? Where like Nash and all these great like different passers would see different possibilities and Jordan sees what he sees and all this kind of stuff. So it's really interesting when you see a guy that understands like a lot of what the like you see he gets a certain element of the game and you can just anticipate what it would look like developing more and more and more. And obviously like he's going to be a good player, right? He's going to be a big piece for the Magic, right? So 6'10" as well, I believe. I mean, wow. Yeah, he's like a big guy too, like sort of like Raptors type of guy, like we like to gotta have, right? So it's like he's a good pick, man. All right, so I'll continue on with the January thing, I guess. And so the next, we'll talk about the next five bundle because that was a bad bundle where we left off, right? We lost to the Timberwolves. Chris Finch kind of murked us, right? But hmm, we played a nice, good, solid, close game against Boston where they won by 2 points. Remember that? Yeah. And that's kind of where we started to kind of change it around a little bit, like a little bit for the next game or two, right? So Sunday, January 22nd, the New York game where we won here and mushed them 125 to 116. Yeah. They're doing whatever they're doing. I don't know. They're up there in the standings, so I'm not even gonna say throw any shade their way. Like long term, I just don't understand in a sense of what. they're planning to make that next move in a sense. I don't know. It's so ooh, okay, yeah, it's us filling up the comments. I'll get on that. Magic have a lot of promising assets, man. Yeah, their future is bright. Kind of glad they moved on from Bomba. I think in the long run they're gonna be a no-brainer win. Yeah, just sometimes maybe just the scenery, like just like the attitude of the franchise at the moment. There's a new like resurgence with like they have Anthony Cole Jr. They have like a couple like decent guards. One of them will definitely be good. Like and maybe two, maybe all of them, who knows? Like but Franz Wagner, right? And his brother Mo. They have a lot of really interesting guys. And it's like I know the Isaac thing, they went down Isaac went down with that kind of ACL thing, and that's kind of been a really big step back for him, and he was looking like a promising uh, prospect, but I think timeline-wise, it wasn't right, but I think they're starting to create a new timeline. It'll be interesting to see. I think they maybe bring in a couple more solid winning vets that have been on winning teams, like stealing Danny Green from Cleveland to help with the younger guys may have been interesting. So I don't know, like something like that. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know the Magic too enough to know what they need like that. I'd have to watch them a lot to really to have a true opinion. I'm not gonna parrot anyone on it. So I'm just gonna leave it there on the Magic, right? But Mo even has impressed me this year with Carter being out a while early this year and how Bauma's been. Yeah, like Mo, even though he kind of stepped on the court in the game against us and gave us a technical free throw, which was weird. Like everyone was missing like free throws that game, and eh, we won it either way, so it wasn't like too close. But it's interesting, right? So we lost a 2-point game against Boston on the 21st, right? And then we had a back to back with New York and we beat them. All right. So now we go on to the road trip, right? Past California knows how to party in the city of Compton. No, just past Californication road trip, right? And Sacramento Kings first up on the schedule, rumped them easy. Golden State Warriors got us. So that was the kind of 5 set pack after the. Hold on, one more. Okay, so Portland was a win. So out of that 5 game stretch, we actually won 3 times out of the 5 times. So we balanced out actually from our previous 5 game schedule where we went 3 losses, 2 wins. So we went 3 wins, 2 losses. So that's like a 500 hit. And so but now like it's a new kind of set, a new kind of 5 games we have to look at, right? But there was 1 game in the month left for January, which was the Phoenix Suns, which we lost that game as well, right? Tough loss, tough loss. All of them were tough losses in a sense because we're trying to really get back to 500. But I think we really kind of hit something here now where we went on that kind of win streak. Well, I'll talk about it and finish up the games, right? So the Utah Jazz, we lost to the Utah Jazz, right? Against their 7 foot court with Kelly Olynyk. They had Kessler, and then they had what's his face? I don't know. I'll just continue on either way though. I can't remember. Um, then we won against Houston, and that's kind of where we've kind of turned the corner into our new kind of bracket here, the newest like 5 games. Well, that's 6 games. So we've won. 5 out of the last 6 games. So that's not bad. So we're definitely turning a corner now. It's definitely been easier teams, yes. And hey, we had to face a lot of harder teams earlier on, and Brooklyn Nets were munching us, and now they're not even a team. So we get kind of luck with the kind of teams that are doing what they're doing now. So it all balances out. So that's why I kind of like a full set. Everything seems to balance out. But so we won against the Rockets, right? Then we won against the Grizzlies, and we won the San Antonio Spurs game before trade deadline, and watched, and we got Jakob back, which was a really great trade in my sense because we had two things we had to do, right? There's two things, right? We have to get a center, but then also a center that makes 20 million and convert a starter back his money. Like we can't hold all the starters, and 20 was kind of like the threshold. So we just separated that decision instead of doing both at the same time. Instead of trading Gary Trent or OG or Van Vliet, one of the three that we've been talking about that we have to kind of trade to get the precious money on in 2 years, and the OG money and the Siakam money. When all three of those monies hit, like we have to kind of make a decision on those three guys and something like that. Like we've talked about it, but ultimately we got the hole filled without having to make the bigger, more crucial decision by getting the center that fits early without paying the price of that starter, which was supposed to be the in and out transaction of how the roster works. So we literally took on a starter at the moment, but we will have to lose a starter before, not this summer, next summer. So when OG's money comes on, Spicy's money comes on, and Precious's money comes on, right? So that's when the decision has to be made. I will show ways if we can pass the salary through this summer. Easy, easy. The core is here if management wants the core here. We're not forced to trade anyone. We can read them up on fair deals and keep everyone still. Just I'll show you which players do have to kind of, it's give and take. You have to give and take. So if we want to keep our a lot of the starters and keep the extra starter before converting him to a bench kind of guy and bench salary and getting some of those picks back, maybe getting another first in a real good draft. So we gave up this first, but maybe we'll take a first from a better draft down the road when we trade our other guy. We're not dependent on the return being a certain thing because we don't need to trade Gary for a center now. We could trade Gary for pretty much whatever we want, and we have the center thing already filled because we didn't do that part already, right? So we're separating decisions, and we're allowing ourselves to make a proper decision on who should go. And if we are still undecided by the summer, we have abilities to manipulate certain things with the new contracts, and some of the players we have on the roster now may have to kind of be shown the door a little bit, but it's just the way that the NBA works. If we want to retain our assets and we're not ready to do a sign and trade, if the packages aren't there or the player isn't ready to do that either, there's a lot of different things that come up in the. It's about guys that can think on the fly and make the best decision at the time that matters, right? Hindsight's 2020. Everyone's great at making decisions when you've like it's time forward. Like I could say a bunch of stuff, but in the moment, relying on what you have to rely on. Masai makes a lot of the correct decisions in in a place that people would. Oh my god! Like let's not even talk about like the Knicks kind of head office and stuff. Like you want to talk about bad GMs and bad things like that. Like, have you seen what Philly's done the last couple of years? They gave a max contract to the Tobias Harris. So, like, he's making close to what Spicy P is making, and you want to fire Masai? Like, just recognize like what you get with the rest in a sense of like like don't nitpick the one thing that's wrong and throw out everything and get a guy that's even worse in that position. Like it's the logic doesn't make sense to me, right? So so we won out of that bracket, right? And so the team is showing fight. They didn't really destroy themselves. They kind of carried weight while we were kind of assessing different things. And then after the trade deadline and the win over the Spurs, we traded for Pirtle. And now things have definitely changed where there's a lot of great things coming off from Pirtle's fit and stuff. And I got a really interesting kind of the thing. I've integrated my Thad stuff. I'm gonna bring back something from what I was doing there with Thad and show the progression of the hybrid of the finale and the before parts and show what it looks like now where I need to less explain things. So Saturday's drop is going to be a really good one, and it's going to be chock full of really good stuff to get you set for the summer and know who's what you're eyeing for who needs money and who needs to perform, and we'll see how it shakes out, but it's interesting enough. So obviously we lost the game against the Jazz against with their the their monster front court. We still don't have enough data on how to really attack that with our kind of guys and the way we play. It's really hard because I think shooting is definitely a younger skill with a lot of rotation guys right now with Precious, Scotty, Koloko. Like Pirtle now doesn't really shoot threes, but he does a lot of different things. Like his ability to screen enables other guys to get open for their shots and have higher percentages on their threes and twos. So that actually adds to shooting without him being an actual shooter, right? So there are ways of improving shooting without actually getting a shooter. If you have a hole there, you can't get like or three screeners and two shooters. And well, we play like that sometimes, and Nick thinks in those ways. Like I have three big guys. Let's run pick and roll with all three of them on different plays. We'll have two screeners rolling and all this kind of different stuff, right? Nick Nervous voice, but so just they're developing three balls. Obviously, is going to take a bit. Scotty's already shown improvement this year, and that's where I think the decision was made. Where it was like we were on the fence of maybe needing that center to shoot the three, and maybe Turner was the fit that was going to enable Scotty to being able to move back to forward or guard and still have the appropriate spacing, even if he didn't have the three ball. But now he's progressed with the three ball, and we've seen behind closed doors his practice numbers are emulating growth. And it's not maybe necessarily on court stuff, but that's also shown a drastic improvement in the last kind of month and 2 months. And you know what I mean? Like he's starting to really get into the action of shooting. It's starting to look robotic and really clean, right? So I think based on that development, we told the Pacers, hey, you know what? Yeah, we're not into your deal with Turner and the picks for OG because we know you like OG, but we like OG too. And if we don't have to part with OG, we're not going to do it. So yeah, sorry Pacers. I don't know. You're gonna have to do whatever you do with Turner, and then they went and got and when they went and signed him. If Masai's interested in a guy, you probably want to sign him. But I think they were more interested in OG, so they're waiting to see if they could convert Turner as the piece, like because they've seen we needed a center, so they've always probably high priced Turner as OG. They probably said the whole time we want OG for Turner, and maybe eventually that became a possibility with them adding more firsts onto it. Like my very first video was kind of like talking about how the Pacers weren't into tanking and are actually trying to rebuild something on the fly because their owner likes good basketball. He doesn't want to watch bad basketball, and I think the indie fans appreciate good basketball and like because the Hoosiers and the culture of the whole state. Well, I don't know. I'm not so much into it, right? Oh, salute 3K, 3K salute. Yeah, just talking some Raptors. It's like All Star break. People have a little more time. They might like people might check it out tomorrow or something. So I'm just laying down some stuff. You know. Got another comment here from a couple more comments from Yata. That dunk was insane in most defense. Yeah, yeah. Um, Yata again. I was actually at the Warriors game on the road. I'm a student at Cal Berkeley right now. Very much out of my comfort zone. It makes me, but it makes coming back to Canada much more sweet. Oh, bro, you were at the Warriors game on the road. Oh, we did lose that game. That's cool, man. That's cool. Cal Berkeley, man. That's sweet. That's sweet. You do you, man. That's badass. That's badass. Just just being somewhere experiencing new things will build you as a person. So when you come back, you'll be even better in a sense of what what kind of ideas you have for yourself here. And I understand what you're saying. Yeah, yeah. Salute, my guy. Warrior system is beautiful to watch. Their off ball movement is crazy. Yeah, it's because they're really defined. They've had the same core for the longest time. They're able to build options. And so they're filling roles each year. It's like a play, like a movie sequel. You have the main people, right? And you don't want to change the main actors, but you might be able to fiddle around with some of the sub actors and stuff, and that could still equate to a good movie that feels is in line with the rest of them, right? You know how movies do, right? They have like a returning couple guys, right? And then they have new roles that add on and add their personality into the mix, right? And then 3K, yeah, 3K salute, bro. Woo, power up. You. And then yeah, I agree that definitely want to see what type of center they wanted before going out and getting one. And again, Masai's patience really provides us with the best opportunity. Again, yeah, like he wasn't getting a center on anyone's time but Masai's time. And it was about understanding what center was gonna fit with Scotty, Precious, Coloco, and the new guys too. They're part of the equation. Once you draft them, once you draft Scotty, you need to support him with the right role models and mentors, and not to kind of like have a guy that's going to take from him, but add to him. And Pirtle, I think, was a great selection with a lot of the passing stuff from Pop that DeRozan learned, and now he's like a passing aficionado. DeRozan, we get Pirtle back. He's kind of built up this passing game. Well, I'll show more in my drop for Saturday, right? But then we continue on, and now we want to build Coloco up and build that sturdy kind of IQ center position, the defensive commander that Pirtle is, but then build in that kind of rangy, kind of quick, fast, Boucher shot blocking threes in the like everywhere all at once. So we want both sides, like the heavy being able to be physical, but also fast and versatile as well. So it like I think Koloko is going to come up, but it'll take years and years to really get him to the point where he is our starting championship number one, or what we're looking at for him. And it depends. He has to get there. He has to put in the work. He has to really commit to wanting to be great. It's about players really committing to being great, right? And I think, yeah, just type of center really mattered the whole time. It was about speed also. If we're having a switchable system, the speed of the center matters because they will be able to switch on more positions based on how fast they are. That's how it works. If you're slow like Gobert, you get exposed in the playoffs when you get switched up in pick and roll actions to death and you look like a pedestrian in drop coverage and they just eat in the mid range and eat and eat and eat and eat and eat. And it's just like, and then Gobert look defensive player of the year. He can't even rotate on on like a small forward because he's so slow. So it's not just about like IQ because Gobert has the IQ. He's high IQ and understands basketball, but he's kind of like a little bit too slow for this switching game. So I think Pirtle's a lot faster. Coloco's way a lot faster. Precious is fast. And then that's why we were looking at Chris in that center mold because he's extremely fast and can switch out with like small forwards and like centers. He's a mismatch nightmare for centers. And I think in power forward with his spacing ability, now that he's kind of more cemented his three ball over time, right? So it's really interesting how our whole roster shakes out, right? And then Yata saying everyone's saluting each other. So yeah. And then Yata saying something that I really wanted Coloca to do more is rely on his wingspan more than going for a block. I think Jakob will definitely teach him that because he does an amazing. Oh yeah, like Gasol, the way Gasol used to do it, just position your body and like it's weird. Like they're going for a layup, but if you stand in a certain spot and have your arms up in a certain direction, it makes the shot nearly impossible from the angle they have to do it and the speed they're doing it at. So like it's really taken away and there's no chance of you getting foul or like him going to the line and stuff. And sometimes when things are a little bit chaotic you can get away with a block, but if the guy sees the block coming he's just going to move his arms up and make sure the block hits his hands or something like that, right? So it's really dynamic of understanding if the guy can see the block coming, there's more mediation that can be done against your blocking. So a lot of the times, like just hands up, like up, and just standing there really can do a lot without having to kind of like swipe down at the ball and like, you know what I mean? And the wingspan, yeah, everyone has plus wingspan on this, and so like, oh man, I think there's so many possibilities with like Coloco, Jakob now, and Precious. They can actually all play together. It functionally, right? If Pirtle gets a little bit more of spacing and stuff, or Coloco does, one of the two needs spacing. You need the two of the three to space, and the third can kind of be whatever, right? At spacing, but you could have like a triple kind of center built lineup in a sense of guys that are just paint hound dogs, like just mushing, and when they get the ball, like it's just just stand back, stand back. Once they have the ball, you need to stand back because they're just like they're just a force, right? All right, and then the last comment here. Well, not for the stream, but just on visibly right now. Koloko is going for the block, of course, which is not a bad thing, but more when to do it. Yeah, I understand when you're saying like Yeah, just timing, and that come with experience. Like, we want him to go for the blocks right now a lot when we're playing him and we're not relying on him as much, right? He's more of a bonus at this point, so we want him always to continue refining his blocks. 'Cause it takes time to build that know when to block and when not to block kind of in the NBA based on speed, IQ, a bunch of different things. Some players wanna bait you into the block, so he can't get that done, but at this moment, we want him to try to block every time so he can realize which times are good blocks and which times are bad blocks, and you build that knowledge up first because you know blocking is going to be a big component of his game later, so that's a given. That's easy to work on, right? If you know he's going to need that later just positionally, that's an easy thing to work on in a sense of knowing that this guy is going to need to perfect this and we need to start this early and really start working on it early because it's part of the plans. So I think they have plans for a lot of different guys, and it's just about like achieving its step. They don't try to overload them, but they do want them working on different skills that completely. So when they're relied on, they're able to be relied on because they've built out different skills and have seen that in kind of their training wheels era. The way kind of Coloco has, he's kind of attempted a block at this shot in his rookie year, and so in his sophomore year, he might be more controlled with the blocks and more effective and less fouling and more blocking, converting the block. That's what it is. Like, if you go for a block, it could be either a non call, right? Where you don't get anything done, you miss it, and the guy either scores or doesn't, right? Or you can hit the ball, which is counted as a block, or you hit the guy, which is counted as like a foul in a sense, right? If it's called. So there's multiple outcomes and understanding. Obviously, that's what you were saying before, right? Another couple questions here. Yeah, yeah. Do you think with Jakob now that the Raps are going to try to push and try to and push Coloca to become a catch and stretch? Mm, I think that's always in the cards. I think just because like Coloco does have a great shooting form for a big, it can really expand out with distance. Like he already kind of has like a 3-point form that he can build on, right? So it's really it's almost like it's set to be there. And that's initially if we could have five guys shooting threes, five out, cutting, passing. Oh my god. Just to switch up looks all the time. Oh, that's what it's one aspect, but it's building so many options that like you don't have a clue what we're coming out with. Mad scientist Nick Nurse is rolling the dice back and figuring things out and like you know what I mean? Yeah, he's shown that his jumper isn't completely like I was saying, his form is a lot nicer. It's not the trebuchet where the trebuchet is like all the way back. Christian has like a kind of like his arms are square. Like you see that squareness in the shooting form, and he has like a solid like release. It looks like one solid motion in a sense of you can improve it to be an NBA shot, like a reliable, nice, like you know what I mean, like boom. So no, yeah, just like I agree. I think a couple sessions with Rico and that thing is money. We'll see. We'll see. It takes a bit, right? It takes a bit. So I think it's just eventually just him having the confidence to like rely on his team when they say, "Hey, shoot the ball." We're not saying shoot the ball because we want you to miss and we want more money and we want you to look bad because you'll get butted out of the team. No, we want you to attempt those shots so you can eventually learn what you need to do to make those shots on a consistent basis through trial and error, experience, growing, and using a skill, right? It's about using that skill that grows it, and we do a lot of things behind the scenes to really get it up to a certain level. Then we experiment it with it on the NBA floor and how it fits organically with the team and how it looks with another team game planning against things. And we find out where we're a little short here, a little bit well great in this area, or like you know what I mean. It's you have to like put your body of work up against the mirror to be judged in a sense, and you have to let teams kind of play against their team, and you have to give sometimes teams times to like figure things out if they're in different periods like we've seen earlier this season. And I think going into February we've seen a lot better trend. Obviously we won the Spurs game, we lost the Jazz game, and then hold on, let me check just so I don't project truth, right? Get everything on point. The Detroit game, yes, were a 1 point win, and then obviously the Magic victory closes out kind of up until now. I want to come on and do my like February review after the month's done and then preview March. So I'll preview some of February, and we're looking at an interesting close to the season now. I think a lot of decisions have to be made in the summer. Not completely. We're not forced. We're never forced to make decisions. Masai plans for a lot of different things, and he makes sure that nothing is being forced ever when he makes decisions, and he's always making the best decision possible because it's the right timing, and we're getting the best deal for the Raptors long term because he's here for the long term. And I got something real special planned for his anniversary. No worries. Yeah, I know how that is, bruh. Just I'm doing my thing here too. Yeah, yeah. But just Masai knows like where we're going with all of this. He understands how it plays out, and if something happens where he needs to pivot, he has the understanding to know how to pivot. He's shown that before. He's shown we were not getting it done. We were a playoff contender before with Lowry and DeRozan, but there were some holes in the starting lineup with JV's defense and DeRozan's kind of defense that were kind of limiting what we were able to do in the playoffs. So we traded DeRozan and JV for two defensive players of the year, Marc Gasol and Kawhi Leonard, which was also a finals MVP. And we ended up winning the championship. And that like he's shown an ability to pivot and not pay everything to have to pivot. That's where flexibility. We had the flexibility at that time because our cupboard's really good and full. We just finished off the bench mob year. We previewed a lot of great talents coming up that were on our bench, and we had a lot of starter pieces at that point too. Like the other day in the Raptors Freak stream, we kind of went over the starting lineup for the bench mob, and I'll maybe go through it right here now. So it was Lowry, DeRozan. Then it was OG rookie. OG, I don't have an OG yet. I'll get an OG one day, maybe. Depends. Uh, But OG, then Ibaka, and then JV, right? So Lowry, DeRozan, OG, Ibaka, JV as the starters for the bench mob. And then obviously we moved OG to the bench and we moved Siakam to the starting position. We traded away JV for Marc Gasol, which became a starter, and then we traded away DeRozan. And we also, yeah, no, yeah, just we moved a couple of the forwards back, right? So, and Ibaka moved to center, so that's where the other forward slot for Kawhi to come in, and then Danny Green replaced kind of DeMar DeRozan, and then it all fit fit out and fit Masai worked that kind of pivot real good. So like yeah, we have what we have. Be happy. Look, we have a great team right now, a lot of great pieces. We just have to figure out how it works and how it continues on forward. And I think we have the end of this year. And with a little bit of gymnastics and stuff, we can hold actually even up until next year and make save the decision for when the other off season, right? Where we have Gary on a contract and we can trade him, or we have Fred Van Vliet on a contract and we can trade him. Or I see that as a lesser of the two likely outcomes, but we'll see, right? It's definitely getting long here, so I'll definitely wrap up a bit just so like it's not like crazy and people might try to actually watch this again on replay. So and Yata, that flexibility defensively on the 19 roster was music to my ears. I love me a team that can switch on everything and really clamp down. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Like the strategies that were able to be used were like new, groundbreaking. They didn't need another team to kind of show them how to do the wall or box in one NBA strategy or they didn't they could just like visualize it with their high IQ and the fit and oh my god, it just Masai's such a great team builder, man. That's what he's doing. He's building a team. And he's not going to throw the whole team out. He likes the core of his team. He's got role models in place for the next guys, and we're going to talk about some of the stuff and details. And then drop this Saturday, 2 p.m. Always, you know how we do. And then you have to. Are you going to tune into Jacob's stream at 4:30? Uh, which stream? Like All Star or something like that. It if like if I'm around, I'll definitely I'll definitely check it out if I peep it and see it. Oh, it's getting a little bit later, 7. I want to kind of like relax and do my night thing. So I'll just say that February should end off with more winning, and I think we've kind of worked through the turmoil of trying to build more chemistry with the team and galvanizing from a young rookie team to a team that has had hard times but stuck together and galvanized into a more experienced, hardened team. So those fluctuations, whether the other team goes on a quick run, that's not going to affect us as much. We know even games could go bad the whole game, but it's not going to say that that doesn't say how the next game is going to go and the game after that. It's about every day. It's about that next play giving the effort. It's about effort. And I was my bad. Oh my god, how did I forget this? But okay, so DeRozan is the hard work pillar, right? But Lowry's the dog pillar. Compete, play hard. Every time you touch a court with the Raptors, either in practice or game, it's always about full effort. So Lowry was the full effort, right? And DeRozan was the work all the time and always develop your game. And that's how we've created this culture of like playing hard all the time and everyone's always developing extra things in the summer and continuing on and that's the what they've built here and that's why DeMar says what I've built has been stamped and sealed in the Raptors and he knows that he built this aspect of coming back every year with something new in the bag and really growing that bag over time and never stop developing. It doesn't matter how old you are, you can still learn new aspects and try new things out on the court. He was a little bit stubborn and had to learn the lessons, but I think the spirit of what he built here, plus what the spirit of Lowry built here, is in like the spirit of DeRozan has transferred to Pascal, and now he's the guy that invents himself, goes every summer, works on something new, and Scotty's learning from that. And future Scotty will be the guy that goes every summer and develops an extra thing. We got Van Vliet and Lowry kind of thing where Lowry was always pushing the tempo in practice. Hey, we gotta work harder. We gotta work like tougher. We gotta be tougher. This is not gonna cut it if we want to really go for the championship. The guy that's kind of like pushing the team always and being that kind of pulse on how hard everything is supposed to be done. And Van Vliet's that guy now, but maybe we have Precious or whoever, you know what I mean? Like we're still grooming out the next leaders. It's not set in stone yet, but Scotty's obviously a big piece of the future. Precious is a big piece of the future. I believe Coloco is a big piece of the future. I think Batten's a really interesting prospect at the moment, but isn't fully locked in there like the other three, where we would definitely see we could see where it's going with them, right? With Ben, he has to get over a couple more humps just based on what he's learned previously before coming to the NBA and needing to continue to learn to be a point guard like or a shooting guard or whatever, a guard like player. It's harder. It takes longer to learn guard stuff and center stuff. Forward stuff is like a mix of the both, but you can rely on size and speed a lot of the time, so it's a little bit more paint your own or make your own adventure or choose your own adventure kind of style with the forward position. But there are a lot of key aspects a guard needs to be able to do, and there's a lot of key aspects a center needs to be able to do just based on the positions on the court and all that type of stuff. And we see how we've kind of tried to teach guard skills to our forwards and really are looking to like really change up the looks of the different things we run, like pick and rolls with two centers. Maybe one day we have Coloco and Pirtle in a screen and roll. And just oh my god. I just everything just like sounds so crazy, but it could show up. We could try it. See how the metrics look. Hey, that's what it's about. Get a good idea, try it out, see if it works. See if it works in practice first and see what kind of feasibility it has in practice before you take it out into the real world and kind of show off it a bit more. But it's really interesting, like just the hard work that we put in. Like I just want to see that we continue to do that kind of stuff and continue to develop and understand that yeah, we had a breakthrough last year, but it's continuing to work. Like we were saying today, like Lex was saying, like Masai and stuff, they pay guys that they understand once they pay them, that's not the end. Like the way Gary Trent Jr. signed his contract, where he's like, this makes me want to work even harder. Like this means like what I've done in the past couple of years says yes, I'm on the right track. I'm gonna turn it up, working even harder. Those are the guys you want. You don't want guys like Alex Lynn that gets like a certain amount of money and he's good with it and he never wants to really move up because it takes more work to be great. It takes more to want more in the NBA and actually be worth that more. It's about actually being worth the value and not just giving you the money. So we can pay you a max. It doesn't mean you're a max value player. The more we give you, the more excess money, it actually makes your prospect of your options worse in a sense because now you're untradeable to any good teams that you would actually maybe have a chance to win on. And there's a lot of dynamics like that where you want to really earn your money and show like yeah, okay, like the money that you're getting is the money you're supposed to be getting because it's the value you actually command versus someone making a mistake and overpaying you, where those contracts like Westbrook kind of wasn't worth the super max. Maybe was worth like the 30% max, and that might have been able to be built around and had better more options for him to win more in his prime. But sometimes you have to take a little less money, like Dirk did it. Dirk took less money. Mavs kind of screwed it up, but Dirk took less money to try to win a championship. Duncan took less money to keep the Spurs team there. Manu Parker took less money to keep the Spurs there. So there will have to be an element of that at some point. But I think Spicy's already said already doesn't really, the super max is not something he's into, because he understands, like, if you give all the money to him, who's he gonna play with? They need to pay his teammates so he can be a good team and win. He wants to win. He wants there to be money for his other guys too. So we'll see how everything shakes out with the contracts. We got an interesting one coming up in this week's drop. We'll see how the end of the season goes. I think it might take longer to decide on this, because I think Gary's making it harder by developing, right? The more Gary develops, the more harder the decision becomes, right? Like, that's, you want to have a hard decision where everyone's so good that it's hard to choose from them, right? And that's what you want. That's what you're always looking for. The decision of, I have too much talent versus I'm trying to grab talent from somewhere, right? And there's different methods and things of about acquiring talent, and we should trust that Masai has a plan for all of this. And I'll show some of the options that we have to keep all the guys through the summer in my next video. But I'm gonna sign off here and just like salute Yata for really holding it down. Real ones, salute Yata. Yeah, and a couple last comments here. Yeah, I was doing a kickback stream, just talking ball type of thing. Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah, yeah, Jacob. Okay, I might be into that. Yeah, yeah. Sounds good, Mike. Have a great night. Project Truth, 100%. Project Truth is needed. Just to keep the facts. It's nice to kind of imagine and wish and think on different things, and but there's certain reasons for certain things, and there's certain real basketball reasons and issues for certain things. It's not just building a narrative, it's understanding these different things and then applying them over time and really understanding what's happening with the team. And we're just building that IQ over time. If the Raptors go through something, I tend to like, so if there's a decision the Raptors have to make, research the decision to try to figure out what decision is actually there. And that's how I kind of evolved my spectrum on contracts and all that kind of stuff. So when Lowry, when we were talking about Giannis, I learned about cap holds and how we could. I was thinking that we could still keep Lowry and Giannis, and that's near nor here nor there. But I learned to the thing of cap holds at that moment, right? So it's just about continuously. If something comes up with the Raptors, we'll dive deeper into it. But at this moment, I think the roster's set for the rest of the year. So we'll try to focus more, maybe seeing how Pirtle integrates, developing the mold kind of stuff, doing maybe some more IQ stuff, open gym stuff if it comes up. I'm definitely planning on talking about the Masai, going over it more deeply and like reviewing it, just to add to some of the points that we've already discussed. But it's a lot of the same stuff. Patience. In my Malachi Flynn, um, DeLon Wright video, we definitely played that clip where he was preaching patience after the Philly loss too. He's been preaching patience since we've converted plan style to a development of younger guys to kind of solidify their primes for that to be the model that our younger, more higher ceiling team can kind of grow into, which is obviously Scotty, Precious, Coloco. But we definitely have seen that the options have improved with Pirtle, now adding back to that trio core, and then we can maybe pair up OG and Gary Trent Jr., and we'll see what happens with everyone else and see how it shakes out. Masai obviously is the guy that kind of knows what's going on here, right? So definitely, if just yeah, just respect for everyone like supporting my channel. I know it's not like I'm not like even if I don't get views, I'm not gonna just immediately start doing clickbait or something like that. Like I'm just gonna continue trying to develop the message and the production value and try to learn through making videos for you guys, the real ones here on YouTube, and trying to deliver the truth. Try to learn more about the Raptors and the NBA and different aspects, and we'll build our knowledge together. Eh? It's like I'd be looking at this information anyways, but now I'm just kind of like reporting it all to you guys at the same time because I feel information is that's the thing. We want to share information, correct, truthful information from pure intent in a sense, and that's kind of what lifts the world, like sharing, not holding back information in a sense. I'm not in competition with anybody. I just want to add to, hey, if they're smarter than me, maybe I have something to add to them. If they're not smarter than me, then maybe they can grow their stuff. If we're both the same intelligence, yeah, yeah. So I respect everyone because I can learn from the guy like someone's learning from me. Maybe like the most intelligent basketball guy might see my stuff and maybe think maybe one aspect intrigues him so much he changes a view on his thinking to be more correct. So it's not even just about like who's it for. It's just facts and it's a resource that's here. I want to try to label things and I'm gonna have like a mold playlist I want to do and stuff. So it'll be interesting, but I guess I have to do switch up my housekeeping pick because I was gonna use this, but then I was like, might as well and just save housekeeping for something else I wanted to talk about it. So I'll switch that up for the video tomorrow before I record it. But yep, all right, totally, yeah, that backcourt breath worth it. Yeah, like it was the friendship of Lowry and DeRozan that built this kind of work style, like this new identity we have of a team that plays hard and grows and develops, right? A developing culture, a winning culture. We could see where the two guys that kind of built those ideas, but it was Masai's presence and what he wanted that really awakened that in them. And I want to touch on that for the 10th anniversary of Masai coming here as GM. I'm going to bring up his first speech and all this kind of stuff. And it's going to be really interesting. We're going to check back what he said in year one and see if things that he said were on point and still true today. Which spoiler alert, yeah, we won the chip. We won it right here, champions. We will win in the city and we'll win again, and that's the plan. And I'm just trying to learn as much as I can about the winning and share it with everyone because I like sharing the Raptors and enjoying the Raptors with positive people. And it's a good time, and we're all enjoying the fandom of a great team that we have. Masai's really built up a special place here, and I think I just want to share that out more and just talk about different aspects that are really good, solid basketball stuff. And yeah. All right. So yeah, def big facts. Salute Yata for really holding it down. And I'm gonna call it here, but logical Raptors fanatic out. Mike G, Mike drop. Grow Raptors grow.